All right, everybody, here's another episode of Board Meeting Wednesday. We are actually doing our follow-up episode with Ron Solsrud. We just talked about retail SaaS, and we're able to find out the three tech companies that he's using in his business to drive success and unbelievable insights. And so what we like to do is have an after show where Ron and I can just kind of, talk about life, talk about business, but really focus on goal setting. If you've listened to my episodes or follow me online, guys, you know that I have my own construct, The Power of 27, where I'm talking about setting goals and working on them over the course of 12 weeks, breaking them down into weekly and daily actions. Because anything that you want to accomplish in life, you can if you just simply write it down and start to take action towards it. So after the show, what we like to do is talk to the business owner and figure out with them what is their reason why. Why do they get up and push forward and do the things that they do? And why do they bring that impact in the community? I've known Ron for a very long time. I know he's very goal driven. You cannot accomplish the things that Ron has accomplished in his life without goals. And so we're gonna learn a little bit from Ron today on how he sets goals, and really what is his motivation. So Ron, one, thank you for coming on the show. I think we just had a great episode. Endless insights for people running businesses on how to drive success. So first, want to say thank you and thanks for coming on to the follow-up show. How we doing?
Well, we're doing good. Thanks for having me on, and I look forward to this casual conversation.
All right, so Ron, let's just get into it. So I'm a goal-driven person. The things that we have to go through in life to run businesses and be entrepreneurs, right? You got to have a reason why in order to get up every morning and put the shoes on and get out the door and get it done, right? Because we're going to get hit. We get kicked in the face. Challenges come, resistance comes, right? Like it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
So as we get started, let's start with your big reason why. Why does Ron do the things that he do? What are the big macro goals? What are the outcomes in life that you're looking for that help you drive the success that you drive on a daily basis?
I'm gonna go, a little deeper than maybe some on that one because it is such an impact on who I am and why I do things, and that's just biblical. I am a Christian. I follow the Bible. I read the Bible because God talks to me through that Bible. I have questions. I get my answers. Um, so my guiding my life. There's nothing better than the Ten Commandments, the Lord's Prayer, all that kind of stuff. So I say that because if you're not a Christian, that's okay. I just am telling you that this is what is the basis for everything I do. Um, I'm not perfect in any way, shape, or form. I look forward to heaven because there at least I'll have that perfection and everything. And so that's the baseline of why I do what I do. In our store, the two things that were our mission was one, we looked at a lot of different businesses to purchase back then, and we didn't like most of them because we just didn't connect and all that kind of stuff. But when Petland came available, we had two visions that we saw right away. One was this puppy mill thing. We wanted to solve that problem from the inside out. We know there's all those complainers on the outside, but complaining doesn't do anything. So we want to do it from the inside out. The other thing is I grew up with a brother that has special needs. I've got cousins that had special needs, and I was very comfortable with people with special needs. And I know that public in general has a hard time with people with special needs. We're uncomfortable, around it. And I get it. And so we invite uh, all sorts of organizations that work with the special need groups in our community into our store. So they're not only playing with puppies and playing with the pets, they're volunteering, they're actually job shadowing, and we hire them as well. So those were the two things that brought us in here, and what drives what we do.
I'm hearing for you, one of your big reasons why is to serve, is what
Yes.
I'm hearing, right?
Yep.
You want to serve your community, you want to serve your faith, you want to be there to help people look for solutions, conquer those opportunities, and just be a good steward to your community, is what I'm hearing from that response. Which Who doesn't want to do like that's the kind of stuff that can empower somebody to push through and go get the work done, right? And I like what you said. Sometimes there could be a challenge in the world that needs a solution, but what people do is they complain about it or they don't take action, right? So when you're looking at that big reason why, and you have a goal that you're going after, and you've established it, how do you take the steps to move towards that goal? How are you documenting it? How are you looking at moving towards that solution? How often are you recalibrating and taking the action? What is the system that you invoke to move towards your reason why on a daily basis?
So I've been a goal setter for most of my life. I'm 61 years old. I go back to the Franklin Covey days, and organizers and goal setting and all that kind of stuff. First Things First was the book that really got me going in the right direction. So at the beginning of your day, do the highest priority things. So what are your priorities? Set those, and then set the goals to hit those priorities. Now do those highest priority goals first. We all have ones that we want to do, and we tend to do those on the front end. Don't eat the dessert. Eat the meat first, and then you have that dessert afterwards. So First Things First was a big influencer in my life. I've never, though, stopped the learning on goal setting. So I have goals. I have personal priorities. My faith is my first priority. If you haven't figured that one out, my wife, Wendy, is my second priority. Third are my kids. When I told them my priorities a long time ago, they were like, "We're third." And I go, "But doesn't it make sense? If we take care of mom, you guys get taken care of. If dad goes off in left field and is not following what God is saying, kind of a thing, nobody's gonna go in the right direction, kind of a thing." So those are my top priorities. Work was actually down at fifth or something like that. I didn't really don't go past three too much. And so over the years, that's guided me in setting priorities and all that kind of stuff. So I really have done that goal setting all my life, and that's what follows me. It guides my principles and stuff. So I want to bring out, Brad talked about the law of 27 on goal changing or goal making. And I actually went through that with him. He was developing it, and I went through it, I believe it was a year ago, maybe even 2 years ago now. And again, I'm always learning, and I wanted to do it. And he has this drill that he sends you through, and he says, "I want 27 goals out of you." And and at first I was like, that's a lot. and and I love the outcome of it, because was there some screwy goals in there? You're like, yeah, but there were you all of a sudden I started coming up with bigger, better, and all that kind of stuff. And so I really like that drill. So that I've always been that kind of a person. What I want to talk about goal setting is helping others set goals. And actually, Brad, that's like what you did, and that's what Franklin Covey was all about back in the day. Um, my biggest challenge is helping others set goals. And so we have a staff of 25, and they all have to have goals. So the department, we have a kennel department, we have a supply side sales department, we have a live pet department, and they all have to have goals. And what I struggle with is people are not goal oriented. And I set it all up, and I have some parameters, a process that they have to follow in setting goals, and then posting goals. And then at the end of the day, reflection on how did you do to get to your goals. And then what I'm hoping to develop in their heads, because we do have a lot of young people in our store, a lot of college age kids, I'm trying to help them understand how if you set a goal, it's so important. I guess the reason why I see to set a goal is if you just go willy-nilly, you're going to get the same result at the end of the day, because you're just going to go for it. If you set a goal and say, but I want to get better in this area, and not just a little better, because you can kind of do the same thing if you just get a little bit better. I want more than that. I want a goal that's going to make you do something different. Like, oh, jeepers, if I'm going to get that, I got to do things a little different. I got to get more efficient. I got to change something. And I want to challenge you and I want your brain to work through that. I might help you with that and give you some ideas on how to attain that goal. So that's being coaching the whole process. But I want you to stretch. And then I want to work with you throughout the day. It's not just at the end of the day, how did you do? I want to talk with you throughout the day and go, so where are we at? So where are we at? So where are we at? So that you think through this and you just don't let it drop. And then at the end of the day, I really want to hear back from you. How did it go? And I'm amazed. I'm amazed on how few times a person will give themselves kudos for stretching it. Maybe they didn't make the goal, but they did better than the day before. And I'm like, that was a win. Go for it. I mean, give yourself credit. What's interesting is they'll get some wins and they'll get a realization that, oh my gosh, the opportunity is way bigger than I thought. Like, I did good today. I met some of my goals, but my brain is now open and realized that the opportunity is much greater than it was before. And now I'm excited about tomorrow because I'm going to start employing some more ideas to get more of that opportunity and success.
Yeah, I love how you hit on it, Ron. So, as entrepreneurs and us doing what we do, we have to have our reason why and our goals, and we're very goal driven. But in order to accomplish any goals in life, you need people. You need a team of people. And, there's two different ways that people approach life, right? And obviously there's more, but the way I look at it, you're either going to work and it feels like work because you don't have goals, or you're going to work and it's fueling your dreams and your goals. And so it doesn't feel like work. And I've had that experience in my life where I would go to work and I would look at the clock, just waiting for my clock out time because I wasn't excited about it, because I wasn't using it as an experience and a part of my progress to get to where I wanted to go, because I wasn't goal driven at that time, or I wasn't focused on my goals. So when we're focused on our goals, and we've invoked that into our entire company, where, the power of 27 is a pillar. We teach it. We have calls about it. We let people talk about their personal goals, right? Obviously, we have our work goals and everything we're trying to do there. But for me, it's important that all of my employees have their own personal goals. I like for everybody to have 27 because I want them to mindstorm and I want them to pull things out of the ether that they've never thought about. And one of the things that I've learned by having so many kind of spread out is they usually stack together. So when you're working on one goal, it's actually helping you accomplish another goal. And then the next thing you know, you're getting better incrementally over time, and you've just accomplished 5 goals at the same time. Because if you're working on your health, you're going to be better at work because you feel better. And then you're going to have better relationships because your emotional state at work and your health is better. And so everything compounds when we focus like on our full self. So being able to get your employees in your team goal driven means that when they're coming to work, it doesn't feel like work. And now we're in a better culture. We're in a better environment. I mean, it just makes life way more fun. Like if everybody's moving towards their goals, you're just in a better environment. And as people, we either create the environment that we're in, or we are subject to an environment that we have decided to be a part of. And you have to be very careful to the type of environment that you put yourself in. If it's not a positive, uplifting, goal driven environment, if your friends and family aren't uplifting you, if your colleagues are not uplifting you, like, what are we even doing? Like, why would we want to go through life in an environment that is not goal driven? And so I love the way you're thinking. And, again, it goes back to your main reason why you want to serve. And so it's not necessarily about you. It's about the people in the community and the people around you. And you know that if you can invoke impact there, that it's going to bring impact in your life and give you the reward that you're looking for. So, it's fantastic. I pulled up this book that you're talking about, First Things First by Stephen R. Covey. I'm going to definitely get that one and add it to the stack of endless books that I still need to read. But I do like what I've heard that before. When I'm prioritizing my day, I do it every night, right? So I know what I was going to do today. I check everything off my list. I look at what I need to get done for the week. I identify the things I'm going to do for the next day. And then I do exactly what you said. I put them in order of the most important things. Like, I have to get these things done, and then I can go eat my ice cream, because I definitely want to do this other. I would much rather do this thing. And I'm not perfect. Sometimes I eat ice cream all day and I don't do any of the things that I'm supposed to do, even though the thing I needed to do only took me 7 minutes, right? I just didn't want to do it for some reason, because I was invoking that. So I really try to make sure every day I go into it with a plan so I don't get derailed, because we're always going to get derailed. Resistance is going to try to get us to do something else. And so I need to go back to my action list. I am curious, because I would have lost a bet saying that you're 61. So one, you look fantastic. I just turned 47. And so, but I remember like the planner days, right? I used to love to go to the Office Max, right? Or the Office Depot and get the new planner, because I needed everything documented. I needed my list. I needed everything checked off the list. I've had a planner my entire life. But that planner over time for me turned into, whiteboards. And then I used literally just poster boards that I would stack on top of one another for my war boards and my master
Yeah.
lists.
Yeah.
Then it turned into Google Doc, Excel spreadsheets, because I wanted it in the cloud and I could take it with me everywhere. Then I moved to Apple reminders, and I had this really cool flow that I was doing with Apple reminders, to the now I've made my own app, because AI and technology will just let you do whatever you want. So I have my own personal app that organizes my life the way I want it, because I can change it and tweak it whenever I want to. If I have a daily habits list, and I realized that I wanted to be able to edit my streak focus, and I just talked to the app and said, hey, I want you to change this so I can track this data. And it was just able to do it. So I don't have to use anybody else's technology. So my life has completely changed over how I do it over 20 years, to the point now where my app is connected into Claude and I can talk to AI about my goals and have it help me accomplish things. How has your journey changed over the years? Like, do you still got the planner you're carrying around, or have you changed over the years with technology in the way that you document and attack your goals?
Yeah. I'm interested in your app, like seeing that, and I'm sure you're going to share that in the future as well. Um, I am a firm believer on how you develop your systems is exactly the way you just said it. And that is start simple. So I did have those planners and I was writing those out, and I had the calendar, and the pages got dog-eared all the time, and it looked worn, kind of a thing. And you got to do it manual first, and it's usually paper. And then if you get that going, now you can look at more efficient ways to do it. And I grew up over these years with technology coming in. So we didn't start off with all this technology. All we had was the planner. So we were doing it that way. But then the phone, gosh, there was the names of phones back then that were based around planning. So I got those. And then they turned into the phone, kind of a thing. So I followed that path and ended up, I am all on the phone as well. But I do use the basic apps that are there. And so I'm on the Google platform. So I use Task for reminding me what my tasks are. And I have them all laid out like different categories. I like my number one category, the first things first aspect. It's Wendy's list. I have a one called Wendy's list, and those things better get done. And so if it needs to be done today, kind of a thing, it's on my Wendy's list. And then I have other lists, throughout to categorize them that way. I also use the calendar on Google extensively, so that I know what I'm doing. I might not have out minute per minute. Brad, I know you have it minute per minute. I have mine a little looser on that. Um, and so, but I have all the first things first on that. And so that all my priorities get done on my calendar that way. So those are the two tools. Obviously, email, finds its way in there, and all that, and texting and all that kind of stuff as well. But task lists and the calendar are my two primary things that I use to organize my days and all that.
Well, for our listeners out there, just want to highlight something that Ron said. Ron is a very intelligent person. He has run a very, very successful life. And the reason that is, guys, is because he has a Wendy's list. If you're in a relationship and you are planning your life and you are the man, make sure that you have your list where you are taking care of things for your wife and make sure that that is priority number one, and you will live a happy, successful life. Now, Ross, um, okay, so let's think about it from this other perspective. So you have your list, you have your goals, you have your reason why. For some people getting started, keeping it simple makes sense. For some people that are more complex, like you said, I have my time down to the minute, right? Um, whether we're working on 2 things or 27 things in life, we hit obstacles, and sometimes we get off track, right? Like I have to recalibrate mine every 12 weeks to say, did I do a good job? What should I have focused on differently? Could I plan differently? Could I have done this? And so when you see yourself getting off of track, or even a pivot, right? You might decide that you want to go down a track, but through taking action, you realize it's not the track you want to be on. And so you need to change directions a little bit. How are you identifying that and working with yourself personally, right, to stay on track? Do you have any mechanisms or timing, things that you do or meetings that you do with certain people, like with Wendy, to make sure that you're on track? Tell us a little bit about that kind of construct and the way you think about it.
It's talking with Wendy. We are business partners. Our relationship comes first and stuff like that. We do not talk about business all day long, but we do focus it in there, and so we don't avoid it for sure. If we need to talk about something here, Sunday night, our store did not perform that weekend the way it could have. The capability was there, it just didn't do it. And so we had a mini business meeting on the bed. Um, I was stressed out, and she's like, "Well, what do we need to do?" Kind of a thing. And I said, "Well, this." And what I want to bring out with Wendy, and I hope everybody has a Wendy, because I have learned Wendy is so important on a business perspective, and maybe not as much early on in the journey here. Wendy would always give me uh, her opinions, her thoughts, and all that kind of stuff. And a while ago, I would listen to them, but I didn't do them, kind of thing. And like, I didn't intentionally not do them. I didn't say that was stupid, I'm not gonna do it. I just didn't do them. And it's so important to have somebody here. I run the company, she does all the bookkeeping, she knows the back room kind of a thing. And she would give me, ideas and thoughts or concerns, and I did not grab them and run with them. And over the years, she communicated that to me. "You don't listen to me," is what she would say. And I'm like, "Well, I am listening to you. I can't. That's what's happening. I'm listening," but I wasn't doing. And so that has been a huge focus in my life for many years, is to improve the doing of what she's saying. And so I'm to the point where the do is now so quick that it alarms Wendy. So, for instance, that we were having this Sunday night meeting, we were away from the store, and she said, "Ron, I think they need your presence. They're doing the right things. They just need you, Ron." And I went, "All right, I'll book a flight right now." And I left, booked a flight, came back, and I go, "Okay, I'm leaving tomorrow. I need you to bring me to the airport at 4 a.m. That gets me into the store at 10 a.m. And I'll start being present in the store." And she she was like, What?" I go, "You said it. It made sense." It wasn't like she didn't say go fly to the moon, kind of thing. She says things that make sense, and it's important to listen to the close people around you that make sense. And Wendy is by far that number one person. And so I have forced myself, when Wendy says something and it usually makes sense, do it. And so that's how abrupt things are now. Here, on the way to the airport at 4 a.m., I did it so quickly. She goes, "Wait, I should be going with you." And I'm like, "Well, I go, I need you here right now. You're still doing all the bookkeeping. You're a little behind. Get in, front of all that. But Wendy, and that's really unusual for her to be behind. But I go, Wendy, if you need to
Well, and you
come
know we're
out,
recording this, right? This is tape.
yeah,
Wendy's going to hear this, right? We can cut
yeah,
some of this stuff out. We'll cut some of this stuff out.
but Wendy, but here I worked so abruptly that she didn't even think about herself coming, because us as a duo on the floor working with our salespeople is an unbelievable experience. She glows on the floor, and that's what she was thinking of. She goes, but I still got to get this bookkeeping done. But maybe I could, this is 4 a.m. Maybe I can get my bookkeeping done in the office, and then I could come out on the floor. She goes, I think I need to come out. And on that one, I did say, hold the boat. Let me get in there. Let me see if I can make some change. But hey, maybe we do need you to come out. You just make a flight, come on out and join me.
Ron, I'm gonna bring something up that I think is important that you said, and I think it's important for anyone that's trying to figure out how to move forward with their goals. It's the simple aspect of being quick and decisive and taking the action. And so when I'm teaching people, the reason I teach people 27 goals is because somebody might have a really big reason why, like, I want to retire by the time I'm 60, let's say. And that's a goal, but that is a long-term goal, right? Or I want to pay off all of my debt. Okay, great. Well, depending on how much debt you're in, there's a lot of action that needs to happen in order to get there. And so as we document more and more goals, we can get a little bit more granular to say, well, hey, this is actually an easier goal. Like, I would like to focus on my health and start walking every day. Well, you can just go walk right now, right? Like, you can just put on some shoes and go walk, and you can start to check a goal off the list. And so when we're building out that list, the whole idea is to say, this is who I'm trying to become. Now, what can I do over the next 12 weeks to become that person? And then what can I do this week? And then ultimately, what am I going to do today? And if you're able to kind of construct that in, you can come to a subset of actions that you can do today. And the hardest part about going and accomplishing your goals is identifying what those things are. Like, what should I go do right now? Because most people don't understand that it's the culmination of thousands of actions that actually help you reach that goal. And
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
actions that you do are not going to feel like even the right actions, right? You're not going to be good at it. Even walking, you might not have good walking shoes. Like, I went out and I started a walking challenge with my family because I needed to be more active, at least in my mind. Well, I was walking on the gravel roads. I didn't have the right shoes on. I was getting all this stuff in my socks and my shoes, and it was a terrible experience. So since then, I have improved my walking gear, so I walk better. But I wouldn't have ever known that I needed to change up my thing if I just didn't go out and have that walk that morning, right? And
Yeah.
so we can simply take action, and we want to be swift in that action, because whatever we think it's actually going to take to accomplish a goal, we're actually wrong. Like, we might think we have a plan, but that plan will have to be changed based on what we learn along the way. And most people never take the first step or the first piece of action to get there, right? And so I love the fact that, and that's something that you had to learn over the years, right? Like, at first you heard the thing and you didn't take the action. Now, well, the faster I take action, the
Hmm.
faster I can get the information I need to see if what I thought would be what needed to be done is correct. And so there's no reason for you to waste time. Let's just jump in and get it done. Um, and that's how you accomplish big goals, right? That's how you bring impact, and that's how you drive success back to your reason why. So let's kind of end it here, Ron. Let me think about when we're thinking about, you've gone through this journey, you're setting goals, you're invoking change in your community, you want to bring impact, you're bringing your family along, your team along. Um, what would you say right now is like your largest number one goal? Like, if you had your war board up, right, and there was one at the top and it was the biggest goal that you're currently working on today and moving towards, what is that big goal that you're doing today?
Well, what I am doing right now, because I did fly, this is just 2 days ago, I did fly back in. I am in the store open to close. I've made the commitment for many days forward here to be in the store open to close. And what I'm working on, that number one here, yeah, I love this question because I don't want to just be in the store. I need to be with the pet counselor. I need to be with my managers. I need to work with them on just the tweaks that they need to do to take a great store to even better store. If I So I gotta be engaged at that intimate level kind of a thing. If I just stand back and like go, okay, go do this, go do that, that is not good enough. In many cases, that's all it takes. But this journey that I'm on, number one goal is I gotta be in their head. I need to be listening to what their thoughts are. I need to see their interactions with the customers or the leaders with the pet counselors and my staff and everything. I need to be there to say, where is some disconnects that we're having? How can I help you change those? Had one last night at 8 o'clock. I had one of my managers spend an inordinate amount of time on the wrong task. I'm paying him to work with our pet counselors. He had a very good reason in his head of why he needed to go elsewhere and work with a customer. But he avoided then that working with our pet counselors and helping them be successful. I took him aside. I let him finish his thing, took him aside, and I said, what you did was not totally correct. We got into a little defensive because he thought I was telling him he was doing wrong. And so he latched onto that. And I said, no, you're doing right. You helped a customer. I love that. But what you need to do is divide your time. You just spent an hour with that customer. I need you to spend 2 minutes with the customer and then go, hey, for a moment, I need to go work with my pet counselors and my guests. So I'll be right back. Go do that. Work with them, get some things going, and then come back and do another 2 minutes. They were fitting a harness onto a dog that was pulling really hard and solving that problem. But he did not divide his time. And that was what I wanted to show. And he was very concerned about that. He goes, well, are you telling me that I'm not supposed to help the customers because I have a problem with that? I go, I have a problem with that too. And I am not telling you not spend time with customers. This is how in the head I'm getting with the people in the store. That is my number one thing, is to help them understand how to, in this case, efficiently use their time while still meeting the goals and missions and visions of our store.
Recap what you said, because I just want to make sure I say it right. Because a lot there's this saying that you want to work on the business, not in the business, right? That's what people will say. But this is like a little tweak on that. Like, you want to work on the business with your people, but sometimes in order to work on the business, you got to get in the business. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs or people that don't do it don't realize that sometimes. They think that they can work on it from a distance and everything's going to be okay. But that's not the case all the time, right? It's just sometimes you got to get in there. I call it jumping in. It's like, if you see something that you want to work with, if you're not willing to get in there and do it yourself as the owner and show people that you know what the system is and what the process is, then you're not a leader, and people will look at you as a boss, somebody telling them what to do, as opposed to somebody that's willing to get in there and get it done. So what I hear right now is you're getting back in the business. You want to develop that relationship with your team so they understand that you are a part of the team. You have a culture that you want to invoke. And ultimately, by doing that, you're working on the business so you can drive more success and keep going down the road and accomplishing your goals. Is that a good recap?
Exactly. Yep. Real
All
good
right.
recap.
I love it. Well, Ron, as always, I appreciate it. It sounds like we talked about this on the last episode, because I like your initiative where you gave the marketing team a goal to accomplish the same output with less money. And then we are also on this podcast, you are working in the business. That is your core goal right now, to drive success. So it sounds like we're going to have to do a follow-up episode here in the future where we talk about, with you working in the business and the marketing team making these pivots, did we accomplish those goals? So I'm going to be reaching out to you here in probably 4 to 5 months. We'll do a quick little follow-up. I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's been a pleasure, obviously, working beside you so long for so many years. And you bring so much value to not only your team, but your community. I see these pieces of content being able to go out and allowing you to spread that impact even further. So We appreciate it. And yeah, let's connect here in the future and keep driving success. And right now, drive success in your business. Let's go get it done. Thanks so much.
Let's do it.